next panel discussion, which is really in line with the theme of the conference on adopting circular economy strategy to drive in desalination industry sustainability, is a very interesting one. And it is my great pleasure to introduce the moderator for the next session, who's in turn going to introduce the various panelists. And special word for Ms. Latifa Lahsine, the head of Desalination Center of Excellence in ENGIE. She's been extremely professional and a great contributor to our industry. I had the privilege to work with Latifa for a few projects, and she's really driving desalination, driving technology, driving sustainability. It's a pleasure to have you here, Latifa, to chair these sessions. And please all welcome Ms. Latifa Lahsine to the stage.
Hi everyone, so I can say good afternoon now. We have been a bit delayed on the panel. So before just introducing our renowned panelists, just want to introduce a bit about what we will be going through during these 40 minutes. So our discussion today will be, we will try to dive into the practical approaches and all the challenges and the significant opportunities for integrating circular economy principles into the desalination sector. We'll hear from our experts, obviously, who will share their insights on how this shift can help desalination plant operate more efficiently, reduce the environmental footprint, and contribute to more sustainable water future. So let's explore how the approach can drive both sustainability and profitability into the desalination industry. So for that, I would like to welcome on stage, so first, Engineer Mohammed Al-Kahtani, which is the Executive Director for IWPs and IWTPs project delivery for SWPC in Saudi Arabia. Welcome on stage, Mohammed. Thank you very much. Then Boran Mohammed, that we had the pleasure to hear out a few minutes ago with her presentation. So she is the Water Resource Management Specialist for the United Nations Development Project for Yemen. So welcome on stage. Thank you. Then Dr. Aladdin Idris, who is the water resource expert for the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure for the UAE. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Mr. Jerry O'Toole, who is the head of water for Jacobs based in the UAE. Do you hear me? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So first of all, I'm sorry for my voice. I got a cold, so if you don't hear me well, let me know. So our first question today will go to Engineer Mohammed. So if you can give us an insight on how can the circular economy principle be integrated into the development and operation of the IWPs, but also on the IWTPs that you're handling to enhance the sustainability. And if you can all please first introduce in a few words what you do in your respective companies, that would be great for the audience.
Thank you very much. Good evening, all of you. Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Al-Kahtani. I'm working with Saudi Water Partnership Company as a principal buyer of all water in Saudi Arabia. Currently, I'm Executive Director of Project Delivery. I'm working in delivering the projects after the financial close till the commercial operation of IWBs, independent water plants, and independent water transmission pipeline. So this is my current role, and I'm very happy to be here today and contribute to this discussion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. If maybe, Warren, you can introduce a little bit yourself before we start into the deep discussions.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Buram Mohammed. I'm a water resources management specialist for UNDP Yemen. I have been working before in Sudan for New Tech Consulting Group, and I have been coordinating and involving in projects in different countries in Africa, in Botswana, Zambia, Rwanda, and also delivering projects with international development banks and funding agencies. I also served as national planning and procedures expert for the International Center for Environmental Monitoring in Italy. And I have also been working as a hydraulics and hydrological modeling expert for the FAO in Afghanistan. I'm also a freelance researcher, and I'm also very interested in developing and authoring and publishing papers related to water and also the hydraulics modeling and other technical aspects of the water resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Buran. Dr. Aladdin.
Good evening, Aladdin Idris. I'm the water resource expert with the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure. Our main mandate with the ministry, actually, we are policy and strategy makers for federal government, as well as we represent for sure the water file locally and internationally with the regions, as well as actually international cooperation with international countries that we are already aligned with. For instance, with Korea, Japan, we are having good collaboration in R&Ds and exploring actually the main aspect of desalination and new technologies in water resource management. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerry O'Toole, and I lead the water business for Jacobs in the Middle East. I'm relatively new to the Middle East, having come here in 2022. Before that, I spent many years working in Singapore, where I have helped the Public Utilities Board there implement their total water management philosophy across all parts of the water cycle. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be here today and talk about how desalination might fit into that circularity equation.
Thank you very much to all of you. So now if we can start, as I was mentioning earlier, it would be good to have a view from an off-taker point of view. So if you can just maybe exchange with us how can the circular economy principle be integrated in your core business, which is IWPs, but also on the transmission lines from your side, and how this can, in your point of view or a point of view of SWPC, to enhance the sustainability.
Thank you very much. In SWPC, we are part of the country, and we are part of the vision, and we are part of the commitment of net zero in 2060, and also we are partner in this sustainability. We are also part of Saudi Green Initiative. So, and if you're coming to net zero and adopting a circular economy strategy, we need a step-by-step movement toward first reducing carbon footprint, and then after that, try to minimize it at the minimum. So first of all, we need to enhance. We need to do some measures, for example, to enhance energy efficiency in the power plant or in the desalination sector, and then establishing a baseline for this energy intensity. And then after that, we can put some stringent or energy efficiency target to improve the intensity. Also, to establish a baseline for carbon footprint and put the control on these consumptions, and you also analyze what kind of carbon footprint elements exist in the desalination and the power plant. So by this, you can at least identify the key items that emit or the having carbon footprint for the desalination. So as you mentioned, you said how can, I think this is your second question.
Yes.
How can the SWBC enroll or take a role in the IWB and IWTBs?
Yes.
Actually, there is as I mentioned, by capturing these sources, we need to capture these sources. Such, for example, if we reduce the electricity consumption, there is a saving from this. Okay, and this saving will be transferred or to be converted to equivalent CO2. And how can I utilize, or how can I make a saving from these? By improving the equipment, by making energy efficiency measures, by improving the flow, for example, of the major equipment like pump, by optimizing the production. So all of these will enable me to improve the carbon footprint. Also, there is, in the consumer point of view, the big challenge in the desalination, these consumables are part of the carbon footprint, and maybe my colleagues also will go to that, like chemicals, cartridge filter, membrane. These are part of the process. So for the near future, I don't know if will be a breakthrough or something to reduce this carbon footprint, but we will wait and see. So this is to answer your question.
Thank you very much. I don't know if some of you want to complete what Mohammed has said. We'll go on with the next question then with Buran. Given the Yemen significant water scarcity challenges, how can circular economy principle be leveraged to enhance the sustainability of desalination plants and the water resources management in such water-stressed environment?
Given the status of the water availability in Yemen and also the water stress challenge, and when I'm talking about water stress, it's not only about the quantity, but also the quality of the water we are having in Yemen. So we are keen to utilize every drop of water. So circular economy is the best approach that enables us to do so, especially because in Yemen climate change is even, it is moving faster than our efforts. So as I mentioned, we need to utilize every drop of water, and the most important thing is to promote the water reuse, and which is a critical part of the circular economy, and also the implementation of decentralized systems, and not only for the desalination, but also for the wastewater treatment and all other facilities, because this will also reduce the losses, the transmission losses, and also because of the fragile context of the country, it is important to have decentralized systems in order to minimize the risk of being targeted. Also, we believe that the circular economy also starts from the community. So it is important, to educate the community about the importance of the circular economy and how the water can be circulated in order to enhance the resilience for the whole communities. Because if the communities are not aware of this, we will get stuck at some point, because usually when we are, especially in our development efforts, we go from bottom-up approach. So we take the needs of the community and we go up to the decision making, or the decision makers and the policy makers, and then when we applying or implementing these initiatives or efforts or whatsoever, we go from the top-bottom approach. So it is important to ensure that the communities are well integrated and well involved in our processes, and also one of the, as I mentioned, even the water conservation, either from desalination of other sources. Starts with the consumption of these communities to the water. So it is important to educate them, even in the schools, and in the villages, and in all, the subnational levels, about the importance of conserving water and the importance of the circular economy.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. It's true that I think in the whole world, indicating the people of the importance of the usage of one drop is very important. So yeah, thank you for highlighting that. So if we can, you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to talk about what circularity means to me in a water system. First of all, I think it essentially has to be based around system-wide thinking. It needs to improve system resilience, security, and to reduce then carbon footprint and reduce waste and reliance on natural resources.
Yeah.
So those for me are the tests of what a measure of a circularity of a project might be. And I guess the question is, how does desalination fit into that?
Yes.
And from my perspective, desalination needs to be viewed as a portfolio, part of a portfolio of tools, all contributing to that. I think it appears to me that desalination focuses mainly on water security and system resilience, which of course are elements of it, but it doesn't necessarily meet some of the other aspects of what I just said.
But just to continue on that, Jerry, like in terms of engineering and technical innovation, you as the head of water within Jacobs, do you see any enhancement or any new innovation that can go towards this sustainable circular economy within desalination in particular?
Right. That's a good question. I think we have lots of presentations today on reducing energy associated with desalination and membrane advances, and we can see that things have advanced. However, those could be described as marginal to some degree in the last while. However, for example, we have an issue in Saudi Arabia, for example, where despite having produced water using desalination, water is then pumped for 800 kilometers, for example, in some locations, and therefore the cost of delivering the supply is something that you cannot overcome.
Yeah.
And the technology improvements with improvements in membrane and pretreatment, etc., can only take you so far. So therefore, I think that from a system-wide perspective, the application of desalination along with reuse, etc., is the real focus in trying to reduce system energy and to increasing circularity.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jerry. So Aladdin, we didn't hear you as of now. You as a representative of the Ministry of Energy, I know that basically the involvement of the governments on such important topic is there. Can you give us an insight of maybe the KPIs that the government is setting for the next few years in terms of putting in place any incentive to those new technologies or to new targets that can help us work towards the circular economy and the sustainability?
Thanks, Latifa. Actually, it is a pleasure to be here too, and give you a bit insight of what we are doing in UAE. I don't know if you people attend yesterday presentation about water security, UAE water security. It is having actually the base of the water security is a circular economy actually. As Gary mentioned, desalination is a part of a circular economy because it is a resource that we depend on. Actually, we are available in arid region. That is not our choice. We are here in arid region where there is no actually rain, very scarcity, no rivers. So desalination is the ultimate actually water resource that available for us. For instance, as I mentioned yesterday, desalination itself, a matter of 45 to 48% of the water resource available. But out of this pie, we are having 11% water reuse. So this water reuse itself, it's one of the, actually, the same source of the desal that we are reusing it for greenery. That's one side. But even though for water reuse, we are having also an KPI that we keep for the country to achieve by 2036. That is 95% recovery and reuse. So you can imagine that, and by today, we are almost reusing around 80% of the TSE water. So this itself as an indicator that the country directions for circular economy is really based a long time ago within the strategies and policies that we are already actually embedded within the utilities. Keeping in mind one important aspect that the strategy itself, when we actually construct it, as Dr. Brown mentioned, we make it from bottom to top approach, where the utilities, all of them that agreed on the main programs, the demand side management, supply side management, as well as distribution and transmission during emergencies, where we are having already keeping in mind the crisis types and what the solution should be made. Like for instance, the 4 utilities, they are having interconnection points. They are already having a reserve storage for emergency and making system resilience. That is the basic behind actually keeping the supply 24/7 for each customers with a sustainable manner, that the people should realize when they use that water is their needs and the future need that they have to care about. So out of this, we are having also the national demand side management for energy and water. In desalination, we are moving actually towards RO, what we call it decoupling. So decoupling itself is a part actually of carbon print reduction as well as energy saving, in which we are moving actually from thermal desal to RO desalination. This movement itself, actually it has a cost in cost reduction as well as carbon footprint actually achievement. That's almost what we are doing in the part of desalination, you can say, and water resource management in a brief.
Yeah, and actually we've been already seeing that coming up in the UAE. The decoupling is a huge topic within all the assets of the UAE, and it's coming. And we see also huge IWPs upcoming using only reverse osmosis. So yeah, it's a huge step towards sustainability. If I may ask, in terms of decoupling, where do you see the full thermal fleet being completely, I would say, out of service, and where you will be reaching 100% of water produced through desalination using RO?
See, one of the important aspects, we can never say that thermal desalination is going to disappear. Mm-hmm. That is really difficult, because what happened, for instance, in Dubai, till date, the main production is from thermal desalination. Even in the country level, we can say in all, we are having more than 60% of RO that is basically thermal desalination.
Yes.
So within our strategy 2036, we are keeping a target at that time in 2016 that we should be actually 54% going to RO. This year we are actually updating the strategy, and after getting the data from the actually utilities, we found that the decoupling is going to reach around 80%.
80%.
So that means there still will be thermal, because in the end, those are investment that already been made with the time frame that it has to be there, at least until it get a recover. But for instance, we need also as well energy, we need water in some cases. So that asset for thermal, it will be there for the needs that already there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you. You
Thank
want to
you.
react?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Mohammed?
want to compliment on Mr. Ala's comment. Actually, decoupling or conversion Yes, in terms of energy intensity, it is very good for the carbon footprint. However, as he mentioned, they update their strategy to have 80%
Yes.
in RO, so they keep like 20% like working on thermal. I believe this is the logical direction because at the end of the day, the thermal desalination are independent by itself. It can run without electricity supply from the grid. It can supply both power and water, and it does not make sense to go 100% by RO, if you ask me, because RO, its dependency on the grid is 100%. You have only the generator for only safe shutdown. So if you from also continuous and from reliability point of view, you need both options. You need thermal desalination, and you need also reverse osmosis to keep adopting these ambitious goals and towards net zero. So I agree actually with their direction.
So that's basically also a plan within the KSA to try to still keep a minimum production through thermal.
Yes, what I know there will be kept one plant or two plants at the end of the day to be like a strategic standby or something like that. So I think this is the right direction, to be honest. Yes.
There is one important topic that we didn't tackle yet that is very important, and I think in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is one of the good advancement that we've been seeing during the last few years. So a question for you, Mohammed. In terms of the implementation and the integration of the renewable solar panels or even the wind farm within the desalination business. So we've been seeing some of the example on your IWPs, the recent one. What's the plan for the future one? Is it something that you are considering as one of the main input for the next sustainability, work towards sustainability in SWPC?
Yes, actually, yes, this plan of integrating solar PV in the desalination sector, it is a very good plan. It will reduce the electricity consumption from the grid. Either you are producing from PV or wind or whatever alternative energy source you have. So that if you see the grid efficiency, energy efficiency, it will be around, it varies from country to country, it will be around 38%, 39%. And it's burning fossil fuel. And this fossil fuel emitting carbon and emission to the atmosphere. So what about if I integrate the solar alternative energy sources in the desalination? I will reduce the need of this electricity which uses fossil fuel in the utility sector. So in that's why the integration of the solar PV was introduced in SWPC new project. We have we have multiple projects with integrated solar PV, such as it can reach 61 megawatt that in the Jubail area or in the western region. We have also another plant with 60 megawatt, and we have another plant with 45 megawatt introduced as a solar PV. However, there is also a limitation, to be honest, in the PV itself. The PV itself, when we say 60 megawatt, you can produce from the 60 to 20% energy in the year. So even the PV itself has its intimate production, and it is not continuous production like a running turbine.
Yes.
A running turbine will give you, yes, this is a continuous power, but it will burn fuel as well.
Yes.
So it is a little bit in between. We need to make sure we are following the net zero ambitious goal, and we need to make sure also the security of the supply to be ensured.
Yeah, and I think that one of the main challenge that we've been seeing also is the land allocated to that, so to enable basically the development of desalination with the solar panel. So is it something that you intend to develop in the future upcoming projects to try to integrate those two technology in order to be more sustainable?
Yes, to be honest, the main challenge will be mainly about the land. You want to secure the land that will produce as much as you can from PV. So, for example, there are limitations of the lands in multiple areas, and this will limit the capacity of this PV. Also, if you want to introduce, for example, hydro, we don't have rivers in Saudi Arabia. If you want to introduce energy storage, still it is not used fully in Saudi Arabia. Till these days, the Ministry of Energy, I believe, they introducing energy storage, the first plant, I believe, I'm not calling Bisha, I think. So still we are introducing multiple solutions to enhance adopting circular carbon strategy and desalination.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Buran, if we look at the Yemen itself and all the initiatives that you might have been implemented with the United Nations Development Program, can you maybe share with us some of the initiatives or some of ideas that can be seen as a role model for the rest of the world?
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, in UNDP, we don't have a specific model for adopting the circular economy. But in fact, we support the countries and the governments to achieve their or fulfill their commitments to Paris Agreement. And right now we are having a framework that is called the Climate Promise, and this framework is developed by UNDP to support the countries in achieving the NDCs, the nationally determined contributions. And right now, the United Nations Development Program is delivering the largest climate action portfolio among all the UN systems. We are delivering a portfolio of more than $2 billion across, the whole world. And through this Climate Promise framework, we are helping countries to identify and prioritize the sectors that should contribute, into the NDCs, particularly we have the water sector and the transportation, and also the agriculture. We usually have like 3 or 4 main sectors that have been categorized either as adaptation or mitigation sectors. And also we support the countries in the national sector planning and budgeting for the circular economy, also building the capacities for the stakeholders and raising awareness about, the circular economy, the integration of the circular economy approaches in the NDCs across other related sectors like, for instance, the ecosystems and the biodiversity. So also in Yemen specifically, as I mentioned, we are now supporting the development of the national vision for the water allocation and for adopting the circular economy or mainstreaming circular economy into this vision. It will be the first vision to be developed after the war. So it's a strategic, initiative, and it will, include all the stakeholders from the different sectors, and also will ensure that the circular economy is integrated into each sector. And the interesting point is that this, initiative is established by the Ministry of Water. That means water is a key sector in the circular economy. And also one of the most important things that in the United Nations Development Program that we are actually, give more attention to is the establishment of policies, different policies. And I would like also to emphasize on the importance of having policies, supportive policies to adopt and promote the circular economy.
So you see a challenge there in terms of policy and regulation?
Yes,
okay.
There is a challenge, and not only in the development of the policies, because it is easier to develop policies and strategies, but the important thing is to enforce these strategies and policies, and also to provide incentives for the government, for the stakeholders, and also for the business developers, and also for the investors. And the important thing is that policies should not be static, and it should be, moved and also being tailored to the different contexts, especially because the climate change is, implications are getting, wider and diverse in their implications. Also, we support the monitoring and also the reporting. For the countries in all their commitments, as I mentioned, to the Paris Agreement. You know that each country is supposed to submit certain reports and certain documents that showcase the status quo with regarding to the different aspects of the Paris Agreement. So we also support the monitoring of the reports and also the identification as the assessment of the emissions, the GHG emissions and the hotspots. We have partners around the world that support, provide technical support to these aspects. And we in UNDP actually we support, the management and the implementation and also the resource mobilization for implementing these initiatives. Yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you very much, Buran. And actually, I wanted to hear from you, so I see you take the mic, but as a basically government representative, do you agree with those challenges and what basically you are guys doing to try to support on that in terms of regulation?
Actually, there is two important pillars we can say or added values in the circular economy. Is that we have actually the important areas of R&Ds. Research and development is one of the important elements in adding values, in getting innovative solutions that help us in the sector. And we are really, it was one of the important pillars that we are already having it within our water strategy. Another important element is the international cooperation. We are having a good collaboration with the Korean, especially in desalination.
Yeah.
We have tested, I remember last year, a project here in Abu Dhabi with minimum power consumption that was less than 3 kilowatt hours for a small RO, which is always a small RO means has to have higher consumption, but even though that model was really a successful one. Another part is looking for the matter of integrated water resource management. This is one of the KPI that the country also has to represent, in which even the business model which have been changed in desalination, where the government now are just giving the support and the funding all comes from private sectors. So that means itself the water sector has moved from the government responsibility to the public, where the public looks for investment with a good return.
Yeah.
So those IWP's projects, if you see, are 25 years, 30 years projects. If they are not sustainable, if they are not successful, they won't be there. So going on these directions, it itself let us that see we are really going in complete and good circular economy directions, and all the countries are supporting these areas where business are good for everyone.
Yeah. No, I think that everybody agrees on the fact that we need to move forward. I think just the framework to be put in place is the main challenge right now. So I see the time running, and I will just ask you guys just to maybe conclude, like in few words, on how do you see the things moving forward to implement the circular economy. If we can start with you, Jerry, just in few words, can allow some question.
I think my experience is that where water systems are owned by different parties, then it's a barrier to circularity. And I think Singapore is a great example of where that was addressed early on in the whole scheme of things. And I'm quite sure that things that are happening here that you described that will overcome some of those. But I think that's a key element to ensuring that circularity is maximized.
We can conclude with you also, Mohammed, then we can go to Buran and Aladdin.
Yes, maybe controlling. I want to emphasize on the control of the high energy intensity equipment and the desalination. If we can make control of these and optimize the energy intensity in this equipment, for example, to introduce variable speed drive, energy recovery devices, also to improve the power quality. We have innovative ideas we have implemented in one of the KSA plants that we already implement static converter to improve power quality as a contribution to the grid. From a desalination plant, we already implement this idea. Also optimizing the design itself. These measures, I believe it will help adopting and improve reducing carbon footprint.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Yeah, Bora, if you can conclude.
I would like to say that circular economy, it is not even, it is no longer a luxury for the countries to adopt this approach. And actually, it is gaining a wide traction recently, this concept of circular economy. But the most important thing is that I think, and from my experience, it is important to share, and to transfer knowledge from the countries that, already have, already have positioned themselves in the circular economy aspects, because, for other countries, they are not going to reinvent the wheel. We are just going to take what have been done and what are the good practices and move forward, because circular economy it's like a loop, and we can, this loop or this circle can be small and can be medium and can be large. So if you are planning to extend, the approach or the implementation of the approach of the circular economy, that means the whole world and the whole countries should have, the same benchmarks for
Yes.
the circular economy. So it is important, because we aim to leave no one behind in this aspect specifically, and it is important, as I mentioned, to ensure that the knowledge and the best practices are transferred from the countries, the developed countries, to other countries, in order to move faster toward the achievements of the circular economy aspects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Boran. Thank you.
I can mention very important thing, the successful development in actually using brine as a resource. Brine as a resource for mineral extraction. This is one of the important element now moving towards circular economy aspect. Moreover, we are already within the circular economy when it started reusing TSE in greenery.
Yes.
So the circular economy, I think, it is not of today. We are using it embedded in all our aspects and work in conservations, where we are demand-side management, in energy, in water. So all these aspects really is adding value and proving that we are really on track. And I hope people encourage moving towards, especially brine. For me, actually, is a hot topic. It's a resource that people should look on it. It's not only a disposal to the sea.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think it's a good transition for one of the next panel. It will be talking about the brine valorization, so it's a very good transition. But just maybe one word from my side to conclude. So thank you very much for all your insights. Thank you for all the views. It was really interesting sharing that discussion with you. I retained a few points that was shared by all of you. First one, and very important one, is that clearly the circular economy is no longer a debate. I think that every level of the market or the business chains agree on the fact that we need to go towards the circular economy and the sustainability. But I note that there is still some work to do in terms of awareness for the main stakeholder to understand the importance of water, how to take it as a very rare and important resource. I also took note of the sharing of the knowledge that needs to be done among all the countries that are facing the same issues, and the importance of putting in place all the frameworks and the regulations that will basically push us towards a better sustainability. So thank you very much to all of you. I don't know if we can have some questions, or we are already stretched. Okay, so sorry. We can take questions offline, but yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.